Hello friends, my name is Sonia, this is Sonia with an I, and welcome to my channel. Today I am bringing you my August reading wrap-up. I say this every month, but my August reads were stellar. I read 13 books, I DNF'd one. I read 13 books, and I started September kind of halfway through a couple of books. So I'm not going to consider them my August reads because I didn't finish them in August. I will just consider them my September reads. Like one of them is right here, this How to Stop Time by Matt Haig. And I'm really enjoying it. I just didn't finish it before August slipped away and September came to play. So let's talk about books. I'm going to go backwards from what I last read and back. So the first one that I read was you know what I mean. Very Woodsy Murder by Ellen Byron. This is a new series, and Ellen Byron has written other series. I think this might be my first Ellen Byron read, if I remember. No, I read her Maria de Rico. Never mind, scratch that. Anyway, A Very Woodsy Murder. It is about a new motel owner. Her name is Dee. And Dee goes in with her ex-husband / best friend, and they buy this mid-century motel in California, like in the forest, like in Gold Rush country. And they go to buy it, and it kind of gives me like a little bit of a Schitt's Creek kind of vibe, but they're not as privileged, I guess, but they're doing all these things to kind of improve but keep the mid-century, which I love, vibe, or decor and all of that. And they end up trying to meet the townsfolk, and there's a neighboring town, and they're kind of they're warring towns basically. And first of all, it was funny. I giggled many times. The murder had me kind of like I couldn't piece out. I thought I knew and then didn't, and whatever. So it was very strategically planned, and I absolutely love the relationship. She is with her ex-husband, but they decided that they are better friends than they are married. And they are a wonderful team, and they work so well together. And you can tell that they love and care for each other, but it's just a friendship. And I think that friendships are the most important and some of the hardest relationships to manage sometimes. And they just did it beautifully. I loved it. I gave this 5 stars. I rarely give 5 stars for a first book. Gave it 5 stars. Absolutely loved it. I'm so glad that I read it. The next book that I have on my list is one of my very favorite series. It's part number 27 of the Misfortune series. It is called Baskets and Beignets by Jana de Leon. And if you haven't gotten this far, I don't want to get too thick into the plot. But basically, Misfortune, her name is Fortune Redding, and she goes to this little town, Sinful, to kind of hide out because she's a CIA agent, but some of the bad guys know who she is. And she ends up meeting all these town folks, and she ends up meeting Gertie and Idabelle, who were Vietnam spies, but they're octogenarians now. And this series makes me laugh out loud. It makes me cry. It gives me all the good emotion. It is like Steel Magnolias, but give me gators and the South and CIA, and this series for me as a person should not work for me. I don't care for Deep South type stories. I've read and not because I don't love it. I read a ton of them when I was younger. But I don't usually care for that. I do not like alligators, and there are alligators in this one. Godzilla is an alligator. I don't like alligators. I don't like the heat and the hot and all of that. I don't really care for spies or espionage or any of that, but it's in there. All of those things are in there. There's a relationship even, but it's done so well, and it makes me laugh so hard. And I love the relationship between the main character and her beau. It's sweet, but they're still independent people, and they don't have to have each other. Like, she rescues herself, which is excellent. The two friends, Idabelle and Gertie. Oh my goodness, Gertie makes me laugh so hard. And my niece reads these too. My niece, my best friend, and I all read these. My niece says all the time that I'm going to be Gertie someday, but I doubt I'll ever carry, she carries dynamite in her purse. I don't see that happening with me. I mean, I do gum in my purse. So anyway, the Misfortune series, if you've never read it and you want to laugh out loud and just feel good, read the first book, but get to the second book, because I thought the first book was great and I laughed out loud and things, but I wasn't as in love with it until probably about the third or fourth book. It's a great series. I really enjoy it. Of course, I gave this one I gave it 5 huge cups of coffee, as as Beach Bum Bookworm would say. I just gave it 5 stars. I loved it. It's a great series. It wasn't my favorite in the series, but it was definitely a good one. The next book that I have on my list is another 5-star read. I have 3 5-star reads right in a row, and it is a continuance of the Shady Hollow series. It's number 5, and it's called Summer's End. In this one, Vera Vixen is going on a field trip, and I think I can say this without spoiling it, the first one for you. So she's going on a field trip with her best friend, who is a raven, and her name is Leonore, which I love. And as they're going on this field trip to Summer Falls, I think it's Summer. No, they're going to Summer's End. That's the name of the book, Sonia. I just read Twilight Falls. I'm confused. Anyway, they're on a field trip. Vera travels to another town, and there is a lot of historical artifacts and things. I was sucked in the entire time. And Lefty, if you know, you know. Lefty was the hero, and I love me some Lefty. So Vera Vixen is just like Jessica Fletcher in fox form. Which there was an episode of Murder, She Wrote where she was a cartoon fox. Anyway, 5 stars. Loved this. Great book. Excellent. Loved every bit of it. The next book I read was The Moonshine Shack Murder by Diane Kelly. This is number 1 in the Southern Homebrew Mystery. This story takes place in Chattanooga, Tennessee, which I love Chattanooga. And the Hayes family has made moonshine in Chattanooga since the days of Prohibition, but Hattie is happy to continue the tradition. So Hattie opens her own moonshine store, and her grandfather is there. He sits on the front porch and he whittles. So it's very hillbilly. She is opening day. She is having people sample her moonshine, and somebody ends up getting murdered with a bottle of her cherry moonshine, like the glass from it. So it has a really adorable kitty. Diane Kelly has a wonderful sense of humor. I gave this one 4 stars. To be honest, and this is not a reflection of the author at all, I don't drink, and I don't like liquor culture. I don't know if that's a thing, but people who, go to breweries and winery, it's just not me. And so I don't know if it was, I enjoyed this story. I thought the murder was great. The theme wasn't really for me. So, but I still give it 4 stars. It was still a really good book because it's Diane Kelly, and Diane Kelly's a great writer. The next one I read was The Truth About Stacy, part of the Babysitters Club. This is number 3. I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars as well. And kudos to talking about childhood diabetes and being real with, kids and how to talk about, not everybody has perfect health, and how to build empathy, and way to go for that. I love the nostalgia for this. That whole nostalgia vibe is totally incredible for me. They talked in this one, they mentioned color forms and Speak and Spell, and I squeed. I was like, I remember those. Color forms, for you kids who may not know what those are, they were little plastic stickers, but they weren't stickers. They kind of like they're like window clings basically, except they came on a sheet, and then the box had some sort of setting, and you could place your color forms into all sorts of things. And a lot of them had like clothes. Like I had a Barbie color form that had different clothes, so you could change her clothes and stuff. I mean, back in the day, it was the thing. It was before, that kind of stuff. So, and a Speak and Spell was kind of, you practice your spelling words, and it would, It was a little professor looking thing, and you practiced your spelling words, and it was a learning toy, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. So this book, The Truth About Stacy, really loved it. I gave it 4 stars. The next book on my list that I read was The Duke and I by Julia Quinn. I did a whole vlog about it. I can link that in the description down below. This book I gave a 4 stars. It was a 5-star. I don't have to tell you what it's about. Everybody knows. It was a 5-star read for me until there was a kind of a controversial part that made my enjoyment of the book go down a star. So it's basically the story of the Duke and Daphne Bridgerton and their romance and their relationship. The next book that I read was Murder, She Wrote, Murder in Season. I read this for the Murder, She Wrote readathon that was sponsored by Storm from Storm Reads. And this one, I believe, see if I can remember, I gave it 4 stars because A, it's Jessica Fletcher. I think I put, no, I'm sorry, 3.5 stars. I listened to it on audio and really enjoyed the reader of this one. I've listened to a Murder, She Wrote before, an earlier Murder, She Wrote, and the reader, the performer, didn't vibe with me. It was like she was trying an accent way too hard for me. It was very much like an episode of Murder, She Wrote, and it was engaging and interesting and still kind of, you know, Christmassy, and was great for, I was double dipping a little bit trying to finish up a July, you know, it worked. The next one was a unique story for me, and Magic Lies and Deadly Pies by Misha Pop. And if you look at this, it's Pies Before Guys mystery number 1. If you look at this cover, you're going to think, oh, such a cute, cozy mystery. No, it is not cozy. It is not cozy at all. In this story, yes, I'm going to scream. This is not a cozy. The main character is basically Dexter, except she makes pies. And she has a Pies Before Guys word of mouth to help abused women get out of bad situations by baking the abuser a pie and killing them. She's basically, yes, has a secret society to get rid of all the bad guys in the world. There's no payment for it. It's like a very big female revenge sort of thing. It's nice to see, it was nice to see women helping women and women supporting women, and there was some diversity in this that I really enjoyed. But there was some sense of humor which I liked, but sometimes, I don't know, I was a little bit bothered by, okay, yes, this man is trash, and there's, you know, he needs, but does he deserve, who makes the decision, you know, if that person, why, you know, I don't know. I struggled a little bit with but then, you know, I was like, okay, this is just fun. It's a fun read. It's kind of like Dexter. And I did enjoy it. I gave it 3.5 stars. I do want to read the next one. I will say, if you don't like cursing or you don't like political chatter, you won't like this one, because there is both of those in there. The next book that I read, it was A Most Agreeable Murder. And this was my shocker this month. I didn't think I would like, I thought there was just going to be another retelling of Pride and Prejudice, very, very Pride and Prejudice-y, if that is even a description. And it ended up being kind of funny and comical and a little fantasy, and I really loved it. I thought it was fantastic. It surprised me. I didn't realize how campy it would be, and it was campy. It was fun. I giggled a lot. It's just like a wild and crazy little romp through Pride and Prejudice. The main character is really smart. She's really headstrong. She's very much like Lizzie. And basically think Clue meets Pride and Prejudice, because it gives me Clue vibes. It's over the top. You know, they live in Swampville, and they have these frogs that are bioluminescent, and they light up the ponds. And, you know, Croaksworth is the person who is the victim. And it was really, really cute. And this was the author's first book, and I feel like that they did an amazing job. Julia Seals is the author, and I gave this 4 stars, almost 4.5. I really enjoyed this a lot. And the next one I read was another 5-star read. It was number 8 of the Cottage Tales of Beatrix Potter. It is the last in the series, sadly. I am going to reread the series because this is one of my very favorite series. In this one, if you're not familiar with the Cottage Tales of Beatrix Potter, it is the tale of Beatrix Potter when she moves to Little Sorry. It's after her fiance dies, and this is historically correct. I love how Susan Withing Albert takes history and turns it into fiction, but still honors the history. Love that. Absolutely love it. She she buys a farm called Hill House or Holly House, sorry. She buys a farm. It's very true. Historically she does. But in these stories, the mysteries, they're not always murder, which I like, but the mysteries are usually solved by the animal creatures that are in the story. And the animal creatures kind of set up the humans, so they will eventually figure it out. I love it. I absolutely love it. This was 5 stars. Like I said, I don't reread books, and I will reread this series because it is just a favorite. My next book that I read was John D. MacDonald's The Empty Trap. I read this for Garb August. I didn't really participate like full force, hardcore any readathons, but Storm at Storm Reads and Sarah the Bookish Knitter were doing Garb August, and I thought, okay, I like to support my friends, so I am going to participate in Garb August. In this book, The Empty Trap, it said probes the steamy private lives behind the quiet elegance of a resort hotel. Let me tell you something. There was no resort and there was no steamy. Not in this book. It was all, I don't want to say man fiction, but it was all like this man gets beat up really bad and left in the desert, and his lover is killed, and they're thrown over a cliff in this car, but he survives it, and she's already dead, and then he gets back, and then it's like ultimate revenge. Now, the only good thing about this, I said, was it's short. It was awful. It did not age well. He goes and does all these things. He ends up marrying this woman and having a kid, but then he leaves to do this revenge thing and gets told he's a good man for doing that. I'm like, you left your wife and your child for 4 years to go get some revenge. Sexism and racism is really strong in this book. It was jumbled in sequence. It was not for me. It was absolutely not for me. This is probably not my genre, but I was thinking, okay, steamy and hotel. Like I said, it was neither steamy nor hotel-ish. That was it. 1 star. It was just not for me. The next book that I read was The Kitchen Front. This book was by Jennifer Ryan. This is a tale of 4 women during World War II who are doing a BBC or competing to be a host of a BBC cooking program that uses rations. All of the ladies are really different, and 2 of them are actually even related, and I absolutely loved seeing the differences, but they all had an end goal in mind. They wanted happiness. One of them is a widow, one of them is an abused woman, one of them is a woman who is expecting but was lied to and whatever. One of them is a very young woman who's always been poor, grew up without parents, she's an orphan. And their friendship and bond as they came together as they're competing was a lovely story. I really enjoyed it. I suggest that if you like historical fiction, especially World War II, I would suggest this book. I gave it 4 stars. I really love it. The found family was what hit me in this one, and I really enjoyed it. Interesting. I also liked learning about the rations. I know a little bit of World War II history, but I am no historian. So the World War II rations and the talk of World War II coming from a British point of view instead of an American point of view, I found that very interesting. And last and not least, Renovated to Death, The Domestic Partners Crime, #1 by Frank Anthony Polito. My good friend Tiffany at Beach Bum Bookworm actually interviewed him, and if you'd like to see that, I will link it in the description box. But they are domestic partners, and they have a reality show. Reminds me a little bit of Trixie Hotel, like they go in and rebuild things, and one of them is an author. PJ is an author. His last name is Penwell, and JP is an actor, and his last name is Broadway. And like the real estate seller, her last name is Sellers. I thought it was campy. There's a lot of campy cuteness in it. I I will say I gave it 3 stars. And I will say that there was a lot of repetitiveness in the description of the handsome older man. The handsome older man, that was said a lot of description, like superficial descriptions. And but I did enjoy a kind of a, you know, the diversity of it. I have people in my life who are gay, so I enjoyed seeing some representation there. So I thought it was good. I think I'll read the next one. I'm kind of looking forward to that. I enjoyed his interview, and I hope to, like I said, I hope to see this series continue. And I believe that is all the books that I read in August. What was your favorite book in August? Did you read any of the books that I read? If you did, let's chat about it in the comments. If you like this video, please like. If you've not yet subscribed or you're new to my channel, welcome. Please subscribe. Of course I do videos. I do book reviews and cozy activities and just a little bit of everything. So thanks for coming, and you make the world a better place just by being in it. Until next time, happy reading. Goodbye now.